Welcome to the pod, listeners.
Welcome.
I have been gardening all day, and I'm beat. I have to say I am beat. But I'm going to try and keep it peppy, for the podcast.
It's quite windy in that today.
It's been murder. It has. It's
I can imagine gardening and that's not been the best.
But it's. I was saying. I was talking to Alan about it, and he looked at me like I was a psycho, because I was saying, I really love doing the garden. I really love being out there and getting my hands dirty. And I was like, it's almost spiritual when you're like clearing the old leaves for like the new spring kind of thing. And he was ready to commit me there and then.
Fuck's sake. I mean, I could understand where you're coming from with that.
It's sure. Nice. It's just nice. I like it. I mean, gardening's not for everybody, but it is nice.
True.
And even if you don't have a garden, like looking after your, like the woods and stuff like that nearby, it's kind of a form of gardening in itself.
I guess.
So don't litter. That's all I'm saying.
Definitely don't litter. That is over the past since becoming an adult. That is which was a long time ago now, but that has become one of my biggest pet peeves.
I totally agree.
Is when I see litter, it just angers me so much.
I don't get it
because it's just so. It pisses me off so much more when I see that people have littered in the main street, because there's literally bins like everywhere down there.
Yeah.
Like there's bins. Like I'll literally see a bin like 20 feet away where somebody's just threw something on the ground, and I'm just like, you're just the laziest cunt. Just fucking put it in the bin. It's no hard. Absolute arseholes.
I hate seeing it when you're out driving and people throw the shit out their window. I don't get it.
Jesus,
I mean, just it's almost like a pure fuck you in it. It's just like, fuck this place. I'm fucking masks. They've been littered. I don't know if you've seen it. Like, I think when a lot of the autumn leaves go away, it'll show you how many disposable masks have kind of been just left at people's arses. It's a problem, I would say.
It's sad as well, because like even way, I don't know how long ago it was now, but it was quite a few years ago when they finally implemented a fine for like people littering, and it's clearly just no stop people for doing it.
Not even a bit. I'll tell you what.
It's a fucking.
Do you know what for me is like the worst of it? Have you ever just been walking by and you look at a tree and there's just a hanging bag of dog shit? It's no Christmas bauble. You're putting it on a tree as if it's a decoration. For what reason?
It's so bad.
It's just, I don't get it.
I don't understand it either. It's just you're literally the just mankiest, just filthiest cunt if you do that. Just
you're a common tramp.
You need respect for anything.
That's what it is. No respect.
Yeah, fuck litterers. If you litter, fuck you.
Litter bugs, beware. We're calling you out.
Oh god.
Do you love the environment?
I do. I try to be environmentally
conscious. Because I don't think you can be environmentally friendly. Like, I think the way that modern living is, it's almost difficult to do something like just to live completely ethically. Does that make sense? There's so many industries wrapped up in it, like clothing, and
that is the thing into this. That you have to love the lie of that they've spun of trying to tell the public that they need to do all this stuff to help cut back on shit that's hurting the environment. Like, make sure do your washing at a slightly lower temperature, or make sure to turn your lights off, or make sure to turn your telly completely off. Don't just put it on sleep because that'll help.
All these kind of sacrifices.
Let us do that while all these billion-dollar companies just fucking pollute like thousands times more than an average person can. Like, and they'll do nothing, to change that. But it's our fault. The tiny wee things that we do that barely have an effect.
It's pure shit. It's almost like similar in a way where like you expect the government to have all the money, so why on earth are like people like giving charities like charity money every month? Like you expect the government to use the money well so that homelessness doesn't become as big a problem as it is, all that kind of stuff. And when they don't have the money or when they're not doing the thing, you're like, well, why is it doing to us? Like, we know it's like doing somebody else's job, like in a working environment. The working environment is essentially like everyday life, but in a working environment, it can get really annoying if you've got like a lazy colleague who isn't pulling their weight. And, that can be frustrating because like you still need to get the work done.
Pisses me off, man. Pisses me off. But, we can at least say, in Scotland, we're at least somewhat doing okay in terms of at least try to use clean energy.
True. Very true.
So that's at least a nice thing. We're like, what was it? Last year was like something like 90-something% of the energy used in Scotland was renewable or something, I think it was. So that's pretty nice, at least.
I love how this podcast just basically is just us moaning about things every week. Just like sitting, moaning.
Is that not the life of a 30-year-old though? I mean, you're in your 30s, that's all you do. You just moan about the world, because by this age is when you understand how shite everything really is.
It's true, and it's only downhill.
And it's only downhill for here.
I mean, you can have a nice downhill. It doesn't have to be like a burning crash. It
could be a slow gradient.
Could just be
a nice wee cruise.
A gentle leisure. Yep. It's quite funny when you think about it. Like, I don't remember littering being that much of a problem when I was a kid. Does that make sense? Like, you always seen like some candy wrappers, but like it wasn't to the degree that I see it, or maybe I just notice it more. I don't know.
I think I do just notice it more. Like I'll fucking, because I think when I was a kid I just didn't really care about it because I didn't think about it. I didn't realise. Think about it at all. But now that I realise how bad it is and that it does bother me, I do notice it more, and it does piss me off so much.
I mean, it's because it's not that hard. Do you know, it breaks my heart when I look at like rivers and I see like trolleys and I see like traffic cones and I just see all this shit and I'm like, man, like who went out their way to bring a shopping trolley here? And for what purpose?
I really don't understand.
Like
that.
even if you're drunk and like I don't know, I'd say you steal a trolley because like you're a rebel, you're edgy. Why would you put it in a river? It's not like a car. You're getting rid of the evidence by like driving it off a cliff. Does that make sense? Like you're just basically creating another problem. I don't know.
People are weird, man. People are weird,
especially when they're drunk.
People in the UK have a weird fascination with throwing trolleys in rivers. And I don't get it.
Like, I was thinking the other day about how I went through like a wee klepto phase. When, I would just like, if anything shiny took my fancy, I was like a wee crow. And I feel like that, I think a lot of people are like that. And like when they're drunk, it's like, oh, I'm going to steal this traffic cone, or I'm going to steal this traffic sign. Like, I don't know how many people I've seen that have got like pictures of like traffic signs in their house and like cones in their house and all that.
It's a thing when you're drunk. You don't think about any consequences of stuff when you're drunk. You just do it. You're literally just entirely on impulse, just doing whatever the fuck you want.
I mean, what purpose does it have? If you've got a sign in your room, it's not as if there's like highway traffic, coming through. Like, where am I going? Oh fuck, there's a sign there. But enough about like people and moaning about shit. Fuck that. You recently bought the new Pokemon game?
Aye, some positive things to talk about, I guess. So the new Pokemon game has come out. Officially came out today, but it was available to play if you downloaded it at midnight. As soon as I hit midnight, it was like, you can play it, because it's technically the 28th now, so I was like right on that last night. Played it for a few hours, and I've been having a great time, mate. It's pretty fucking fun.
So here's what I know about it. It's a Dark Souls clone, centered around some sort of ancient artifact, an Elden Ring, maybe? No.
That's next month. That's next month. It's
It is an open world though, isn't it?
It is an open world. They've changed up the game quite a lot, more than I actually thought, to be honest.
What is? If you say you're somebody that the last time they played Pokemon was on the Game Boy, or on the DS, something like that, what's the battle difference?
So the main like new thing in the battles is there's this new mechanic called styles,
right?
Where there is now that it's not just a simple turn order where it's just you go then they go then you go then they go. You can now, depending on the style of move you use, you can potentially make it so you get to go multiple times in a row, or the enemy will go multiple times in a row. And there's like an active like turn order on screen that you see, so you can know like how the moves you're using affect it.
Right.
So like you can be like, I want to use this move in agile style, which makes the move a bit weaker, but it might make it so you can go again immediately.
Okay, so
and do another
like
move.
A quick attack.
So, I mean, you can do any move. The way it works is once your Pokemon knows a move and you've leveled up enough. I think there's other ways to do it, but once you've leveled up enough, they master the move, which makes it so they can then use it in the agile style or the strong style.
Okay.
So any move can do it with, and basically agile style is you get to do it fast. It's weaker than normal, but it'll possibly mean that you can immediately use another move right after it. And then strong style is the move does more damage, but you're likely to give the opponent you're fighting multiple turns in a row. So it's a case of like, if you think your strong style move will knock them out, then that's the thing to do, because you can just do it and knock them out. And they don't get to go again.
So it's not like a slash 'em up, beat 'em up kind of.
No, it's still turn based, but
right.
they have changed it up a bit. There's some new mechanics to it. It also seems to me like the Pokemon stats have been changed.
Okay.
They seem to be just generally stronger.
So that's maybe
because like
to do with like maybe what's going on in the story, or
I'm not sure exactly why. Because I don't think they ever like said in the trailers or anything like that the stats and stuff were going to be so different. But like, Pokemon seem to just do more damage, and like they have way more HP than they normally would. Like I've got like at level 10. Normally your like average Pokemon have got like maybe like, I don't know, like 50-ish HP or something like that, but they're sitting there nearly with 100. Like just tons more. Like their stats just seem like a lot higher than average, or like across the board.
I guess that kind of catches you off guard if you're used to a certain way of playing, and
it's weird, but it's nice. It feels the battles and stuff feel a bit more fresh and all that. And my biggest thing that I like about the game is everything is very seamless and fast and just smooth. Like the transition between battles and catching Pokemon and just doing things in the overworld, it just goes. There's no like you're waiting about for all these like transitions between the battle and all these animations and shit to happen and all that. Like, you're not just waiting about for shit. It's just everything's very seamless and quick, and it's great.
That does really sound pretty good, because I think that if there was a, like as you say, if there was a different kind of mechanic there, it maybe wouldn't have been as successful. If you had to wait for like battle, it would just kind of take you out of the immersion.
That's the thing about normal Pokemon games, is they can be a bit slow. when you're playing them. They can feel quite slow. When you're doing stuff, when you're like trying to catch like a bunch of Pokemon, or if you're doing a bunch of battles, they can feel a bit slow.
I have just one question for you.
Way all that, but
sorry, I have just one question for you. Have you found Arceus?
No, I've only played it for a few hours. I'm pretty sure I'll only see Arceus till the end of the game.
He's like on the cover.
He is the god of all Pokemon.
Yeah, but he's on the cover, so surely like you'd be like introduce himself, maybe. I don't know.
Well, actually, you do see him right at the start of the game.
Well, see,
like I'm not gonna like. There's no. I'll just say this for anybody who's watching. If you're worried about spoilers, that's no spoiler because it's literally the first thing you see in the game. Also, the game's out the day, so if you've not played it yet, and this will only be going out until like Monday, so if you've not played it by then, fucking, whatever. But like I said, I'm only a few years in, and I've tried to avoid all the spoilers and shit and leaks, so I've only seen the first few years of the game, so I couldn't spoil shit if I wanted to.
Okay. To
be honest, and I haven't really seen anything in the game that would be really considered spoilery. I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, I've not gotten that far into it. Like the first 2.5 hours is basically like tutorial stuff where it's just teaching you how everything works. And then after that, you kind of just.
Is it easy to pick?
That's when it starts giving you stuff to do.
Is it easy to pick up like the system, like the battle system? Because I'm not going to lie, when you were talking about it, I was like, "Fucking hell, styles!" I was, I would just fight, run.
Aye, all the mechanics and all of the new stuff, they get introduced to you over the course of like the 2.5 hours.
All right, okay, so
in the game, the first they slowly show you all the new stuff, how everything works, and the new stuff and all that. Like it's not just all like it's not just all thrown at you at once, and you just have to figure it out. Like it slowly will introduce you to everything and how they all work and all that. So it is easy to pick up.
Do you think there'll be any Easter eggs?
Aye, probably. I'd
love to see that.
So. I would imagine so, for sure.
So has it lived up? Lived up to the hype?
So far, I mean, I'm still fairly early in it, but I've been having a great time with it, and I'm excited to play Marriott.
Who's your team?
My team, I don't really have any. The only definitive member I've got through that I'm like is definitely Stein, and my team is my Cyndaquil that I started with. The other Pokemon I've got are kind of just stuff that I've caught. That I'm just like, I'm using them now because they're decent, but they are all very replaceable at this point. The rest of the team that I've got, but it's just like Geodude, Starly, Dustox, just mostly the shit that you kind of find at the start of the game.
I can't help but notice that a Hoot isn't in your team.
I've not seen a Hoot yet. I've not even seen a fucking Pidgey yet. Starly's it's based on. It's basically mostly Gen 4 in terms of like the region that you're in. It's like basically Gen 4 in the old time, so it's mostly the Gen 4 stuff I'll be seeing, at least at the start. So the only bird Pokemon I've really seen so far is Starly, which is like the regional, bird for that gen. So
I mean, it does sound like a lot of fun, like especially the open world part of it, because. That was
it's so nice.
In the Game Boy games, especially like Red, Blue, and Gold and Silver, like going on the train and going on the yacht and that kind of exploration was like just a really good part of the game. It kind of helped really just break up the constantly running through grass and getting stopped.
That is, and so that's the thing with it, because it's an open world game. Just like what they had in the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee game, there's no random encounters. All the Pokemon are just in the world walking about.
So is it similar to the Eevee and Pikachu game? Let's Go.
Just in that sense of where all the Pokemon are in the overworld. Right. There's no random encounters. You see, if you want to catch a Pokemon, you have to see it in the world, and you run up to it, and you throw your Pokeball at the Pokemon to fight it or try and catch it. And that's it. There's no like walking into grass and waiting for it and all that shit. There's none of that.
I mean, that was a good part of the game. Always kept you on edge, especially when you're walking through caves.
I mean, things in this game will definitely fucking keep you on edge when you run by a Pokemon. When you run by a big Pokemon that's like 30 levels above your whole team, and is going to fucking destroy you if you go anywhere near it.
That shit's
scary.
Is there like towns and cities? Like places to
So
visit?
far, there's one town that you start in, and that's the only town I've seen so far. I think there probably is other towns, but I have not seen any yet. But like the game is set in like olden times, like feudal Japan kind of time.
All right, okay.
It is a comparison. So there's no like cities and there's no like towns everywhere and all that. It's like fairly barren, open areas, pretty huge, just open wild areas and very small towns. But I imagine there is other towns because there's been other characters that have that have shown up that have clearly come from somewhere else. So
the reason I ask is because I wonder if they'll put in like a kind of nod to Lavender Town and have like a haunted house. And like maybe like you're in a dark house and like it's almost Luigi's Mansion-y, where the ghosts kind of come out, kind of give you a wee fright. I'd love that.
There might be. There'll probably be some kind of area that will have like ghost Pokemon. There usually is. And in Sinnoh, which is where this is based on, there is one. I guess that wouldn't work actually. In Sinnoh, there's like a haunted mansion fairly earlier in the game, but that probably won't exist in this because it's in the olden times. But I imagine there's probably some cave or something somewhere where there's a bunch of fuck ton of ghost Pokemon probably hanging out that you find. But I've not seen any ghost types yet.
That sounds pretty fun. So. Is there like different types of environments, or is it just like a forest and?
I've only seen like fields and forests so far, but I'm still like only a couple of hours in. I've not even gotten to the first like kind of like boss Pokemon that you fight, which they have shown in trailers and stuff. There's like these like I forget what the fuck they're called. What like there's like these like boss fights that you do with Pokemon that are like pure pissed off and pure angry and shit.
Okay.
And I've not even got to the first one of that yet, so I'm like barely into the game. But what they showed, there is definitely other areas. Like they've showed like, there's areas that are all snow and all that kind of shit, and there's like desert areas and all that probably as well.
That would be fun.
There will be different environments.
That would be fun.
And I've not even gotten to like the point where I can ride Pokemon, which is one of the major things they showed. Is like you can ride on Pokemon and fly about and all that.
Really?
There's like basically there's a Gen 5 Pokemon that's got like a new form in this that they showed in the trailers, and you can you put like it basically holds like a hang glider type handle, and you hold onto that, and then you can fly about.
I love flying in games.
The world.
I really do love that.
And there's like there's a new form. I think it's a new evolution that Stantler has that you get access to like ride on, and he runs about and he's fast as fuck. So I've not even gotten to them yet, and I've been enjoying just exploring. But once I get them, I'll be fucking running all over the joint, fucking flying all over the place.
I read a spoiler that Arceus gets caught by Team Rocket.
Team Rocket don't even exist in Sinnoh, so what?
It's like a Terminator thing.
What the fuck are you talking about? You're just making shit up.
Just sheer shit. Just seeing him take that shit. But
I'm curious if there's going to be any kind of evil team in the game, because I've not seen any yet, and they didn't show anything like that in the trailers. But I imagine there's got to be some sort of fucking antagonist probably at some point that will get introduced. So we'll see what happens with that.
I hope that it would be like a rival rather than like a team. Maybe just kind of kind of focus on like that old time rivalry that the old games kind of had. With Gary.
That would be nice. Oh, but the new Pokemon game, pretty fun. People, gave out a lot of shite for the graphics, and I'm not going to sit here and argue that the game looks the best. It definitely could look a lot better, especially coming from the richest franchise in the world. But that's but despite that, I'm having a great time with the game, and it's a lot of fun.
Will there be like I don't know, events or seasons with this, or is it just like a kind of one-off game?
It's for what I've seen, I think it is mostly just a single player game. There's no really much multiplayer in it at all, or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine they'll probably have like wee events that they always do through like mystery gift stuff with the Pokemon games, and then they might release DLC for it that'll maybe add some new areas and stuff. But like I think for all the new stuff they've done in this game, I would be fine with this being the new normal, like what the Pokemon games are now. It's just like games like this, because they're fucking. In my opinion, this is a step in the right direction
for something fresh
for the Pokemon series. It's something fresh. It's new. It's very fun. It's enjoyable. It's no the It's just, it feels like this is what they've been building up to, because Sword and Shield had like the wild areas, which were like, you know, these areas where you could walk about fully, turn the camera and all that, and they were like Pokemon would just appear and you could fight them and all that shit, and it was like that felt like an alpha, like a pre-alpha like test of what this game, that what they wanted the next game to be, which is what this is now. So it feels like this is something they've wanted to do for a while, and now they're finally on it. So I hope if this becomes like just what the new Pokemon games are, like the new main series ones, then I'm fine with that.
From a design perspective, it's difficult to kind of translate something that's 2D into 3D. And like, well,
true.
Pokemon started as like 2D games, and now obviously they've went like full 3D, full immersion, like open world.
Yeah,
it's not any.
I've heard rumours, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but I don't know if I hope it is or no, but I've heard that Game Freak brought in some help from Monolith Soft, which is another game company, to like help with some of the stuff in this game, which makes sense because if you don't know, Monolith Soft are the people that made the Xenoblade games, which are also like big kind of open world RPGs. And they're pretty, well, I was going to say they're pretty great. I've only played one of them and I fucking loved it.
You know,
the Xenoblade Chronicles is amazing.
I think I remember hearing that criticism about like Pokemon, and they were people were criticising the fact that they weren't bringing in people that knew how to make these types of games. They were kind of doubling down on the people that had been doing the previous stuff, which is a completely different type, if that makes sense.
I mean, it is a company that went for fucking nothing but 2D games with sprites for like 15 years, and then all of a sudden they're like, let's do 3D, when none of us have any experience in it.
Character modeling.
And it was like, and it wasn't a great transition to 3D for them, but they seem to be getting kind of the hang of it now. So we'll see what happens.
They do seem to,
future.
From what you've described, they seem to be kind of appealing to the fans, which is what you want at the end of the day.
Aye. In my opinion, this is the exact kind of Pokemon game people have wanted for years, where they're like, we need a Pokemon game that's like open world and blah 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 and all this stuff, and like all the things people have been saying like we need the Pokemon game to turn into. This is basically what it is. So,
do you think that it will lead you to play Skyrim?
No, because it's not the same kind of game.
Other
than it being open world, it's not like there's nothing like similar to it.
I mean, no, but I mean it is open world, and
that's it. Just because it's open world.
What have you got against Skyrim? Like, really, what have you got against it?
I've nothing against it. I've played an Elder Scrolls game and I didn't like it, and I've seen plenty of gameplay and videos and everything at Skyrim over the years, and it just does not. I've never had the thought of I want to play this game. And I feel like if I've seen this much of a game, videos of the game and all that, for this many years, if I wanted to play it and I thought I would enjoy it, I would have tried it by now. And I've just had no desire to try it.
I mean, I'm honestly shocked. I'm flabbergasted. I am absolutely just exhausted with these trials and tribulations that you gave me on Skyrim. Like,
I'm not sitting here saying the game's shite. Like, I'm not sitting here to argue that it's some shite game that you shouldn't like. I'm just saying that it doesn't appeal to me.
Skyrim to me is I don't know, maybe this is controversial, but I only see Skyrim as like a really good generate your own RPG. You know, like you can get to pick your character, you can be like a heavy knight, or you could be like a stealth arrow guy. You know, you can be whatever you want. It's just like a choose your own adventure. And I have no idea why you wouldn't love that.
It just doesn't appeal to me at all. I just don't think the game looks fun to play.
Well, you're kind of trampling on my dreams here. Trampling on my dreams.
It just doesn't. It just doesn't appeal to me at all. I've tried, and I played Oblivion, and that's. I know people will be like, Skyrim's not Oblivion.
Skyrim isn't Oblivion.
It is the same game. It's not the same game, but it's the same. It's the same basics. Like they play very similarly. They look very similarly. The gameplay and everything is it's like saying, it's like if I said, if you tried Pokemon Crystal and you were like, no, I played Pokemon Yellow and I didn't like it at all, so, and I'm going to sit here and be like, oh well, it's a completely different game, because it's no. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It is, but it isn't.
I think that's a
like, you know, like it's.
I mean,
you can't. They're very, very similar games. Like obviously, Skyrim's. I assume Skyrim's got tons of new content, tons of stuff that Oblivion doesn't have, and all that shit. But
you know, you're right.
In terms of just the gameplay, it is basically the same game.
You're right in the sense that they are the same games in that respect. However, Skyrim, because of its community, have got like this plethora of like mods. So like it doesn't matter what like fantasy relic that you can think of. Chances are somebody's made the mod for it. So like if you want to have like a Lord of the Rings adventure, you completely can. You know, it's like I don't think you can do that with Oblivion. I think Oblivion's like a set story. I don't know if there's a lot. There's probably mods, but not as many as Skyrim's got. So like with Skyrim, you have like this kind of engine that can drive any kind of adventure you can think of, in my experience. And they just need a good flying mod, and they're set, really, and it's the perfect game.
The mods don't help the fact that it's still the same game. It's still the same game. It's still going to play the same. Like that's the thing. I guess that's the thing. It's the engine they use. The Elder Scrolls games and the Fallout games and all that, they're all using the same engine, and they're quite similar in a lot of ways, and they just don't appeal to me at all. I've never had any interest in playing any Elder Scrolls games since Oblivion. I've never had an interest in playing any of the Fallout games or any of the games they make, because I just don't think they look fun for me. They just do not appeal to me at all.
You really
I've
do.
no interest in them.
You really do be saying fuck Bethesda.
I mean, they fuck Bethesda. They are cunts. So. That whole shit with Fallout 76 was a fucking joke.
I had no idea Bethesda were a bad company. Why are you booing them?
I don't think they're bad in the same way that like Activision is in terms of bad. I think they're just bad in the sense that they did kind of fuck all their fans with that way though. If you've don't know the story behind Fallout 76, there's
Fallout 76 was a mobile app, was it not?
No. It was supposed to be it was supposed to be like Fallout but multiplayer, basically, like an online, always like multiplayer Fallout game, basically.
Okay.
And it was a fucking mess.
Oh dear.
The game, everything around the game, it was astonishingly bad how it all went. There's a great video on YouTube actually called, I think it's called, in fact, it might just be called like the story of Fallout 76 or something. But there's a channel on YouTube called, oh fuck, what is it? I'm gonna look it up because I can't actually remember what it is. It's something like Internet Lore or something like that it's called.
But they released this game.
Internet. I came out years ago.
So
like, it was like
they had a shit game and they released
years
it.
ago.
Why did they release a shitty game?
Because that's what the companies do.
Agreed. Just sheer.
It's like, it's shit and broken and like barely works. Just send it. We'll fix it with patches later. Let's just get all the money and all that.
Aye, that's a bit shady.
Aye. So it's Internet Historian is the channel. He does like all these videos basically just about things that happened in the internet and just talks about like everything that happened to them. And it's called The Fall of 76. And it just goes over the game's release, how messy it was, how bad everything was. It wasn't even just the game though. It was like they had like you know how games will come out and they'll be like, this you can get this bundle where you'll have, if you buy this bundle, you'll get the game and you'll get all these other items, like you'll get like a figurine and the soundtrack and the shit like that. So they had one of them, and one of the items was like a bag.
Right.
That looked really nice. I think it was like a not a duffel bag, but it was like a tote bag or something like that. And it looked really nice, and I think it was for the game, the Fallout games. And they were like, it's going to be made of this really nice material, and it looked like a really well made thing. So a lot of people were like a
collector's item.
I get that. A collector's item. It looks really nice, and everybody was like, a bunch of people were like, I'm going to get that bundle, and it was pretty expensive. And
I've been there.
It was like months or something, I think, after the game came out, and nobody had their bags, and everybody was like, where the fuck's my bag? I've not got it yet. And then they were like, okay, we're sending the bags out, and they sent them out, and they were this cheap ass shit, not even close to what they advertised, and everybody was like, what the fuck is this? And the excuse they came out with was something like, the material for it is like really hard to get, and we just weren't able to get a lot of it and all this blah blah blah, and everybody was just like, well, this isn't what you advertised. You can't just say, we didn't get the materials. We're just taking your money and that's it. Like, it was just, everything about the game was just a fucking mess.
That is so shady.
I would highly recommend checking out the video. It goes over the whole thing.
I might need to.
And it's pretty insane, honestly.
It's just so shady.
It's one of the craziest things, I think, in terms of like just how bad things got with a game release. Mm-hmm. It's pretty horrendous.
I mean, I'll watch the video. I'll educate myself, but I loved Fallout 4. I have to say, I tried Fallout 3. I
think most people did.
I liked Fallout 4.
The people that liked the Fallout games, they liked Fallout 3 in Las Vegas, and they liked Fallout 4. And I think everybody was excited for 76, and then it came out, and it was just a shit show. It was just an absolute shit show of a game. So it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. But
to Bethesda. Having a nightmare. PR nightmare.
That's what happens when you release utter shite.
I mean, it does read as though they were kind of taking advantage of people's good faith, already established good faith in their games. They were. I think for what I remember, they were pretty over ambitious about the game, and I think it wasn't even like the main dev team that were working on it. Right.
I think it was like some B team that they had working on the game, and it just wasn't up to par to what it was supposed to be, and people were pretty pissed.
I mean, I understand how hard it is to make a game, but I certainly wouldn't make a broken game and try and sell it. Because I feel like everybody would just rather the game. If it's good or bad or different, just don't give me the thing broke, because then you've got disappointment.
It comes back to that old that quote from Shigeru Miyamoto, where he said, "A broken game is always, or it's something like if releasing a game early, it's always going to be bad, but a delayed game is eventually good."
Well, yeah. Because it's what
It's like people always are upset when games. A delayed game is eventually good. A bad game is bad forever.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like people have such a negative view on like when games get delayed. You know, a game will be delayed, and people are like, "Oh, why did they delay it? I want it now." But it's like you don't though,
No,
because they've clearly delayed it for a good reason. Like they've clearly delayed it because it's no at the quality they needed to be at, and they don't know what to release a game that's doesn't work or is broken in some way or isn't up to their quality. And so they're going to delay it so that they can actually release a game that's worth the money they're selling it for.
I mean,
that is a good thing.
Exactly. You wouldn't get it in any other industry where you would just pay money for a product with an expectation. You know?
Like, can you imagine if you went to see the new Marvel movie and like half the CGI just wasn't done or just looked like fucking so shitty, and it was like, oh, we're going to patch it in later. Like, what?
But you're paying full price for the movie just now, but do you know it's just taking money out of people's wallets. It really is.
Aye, it's actually crazy.
What are you having for dinner tonight?
I fucking don't know, to be honest.
You'd never know what you're having for dinner.
I might have some pie.
Some pie. I like that.
Pie. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm going to have. Probably have a wee Friday night takeaway.
I was thinking about a takeaway, but I'm going to do that tomorrow instead because the Royal Rumble's on tomorrow, and me and Frankie are going to watch it. I think Lisa's coming down to watch it as well.
That sounds fun. Is it on at like 4 o'clock in the morning? I
think it starts at like 12 or 1 a.m. ish, and goes to like 4. Probably.
That's crazy.
So it is on pretty late because obviously it starts. It's live and it's in the US. When it starts, it'll be like middle of the day. So, but for us, it's late as fuck. But we're going to watch that, and we'll probably order some food and stuff for it. So that'll be fun.
Have you got your foam finger ready?
I don't even know what matches are on. Like I don't even know who's wrestling. Like I don't even follow wrestling that much anymore. But we always make it an effort to watch the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania every year, just because they're the big ones, and the Royal Rumble is always fun, and WrestleMania is usually pretty great. So I very vaguely follow wrestling a bit, but I genuinely have no. I think other than the Royal Rumble match itself, I have no idea who's actually wrestling tomorrow. But I'm excited to watch it anyway, so we'll see.
This sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go and get these puppies walked. Because
sounds good.
Sasha is hounding me. And thanks for listening, folks.
Yeah, thank you all for listening.
And we'll speak to you next week.
We will, yeah. See you guys then.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.